Rose Community Foundation is celebrating its 30th anniversary, but the roots of the foundation actually date back farther, to the 1940s, when Jewish doctors returning to Denver from the war couldn't get hospital privileges. The Jewish community came together to build General Rose Memorial Hospital.
And the Jewish community was central and key to the founding of this hospital.
My grandfather,
my father, father-in-law,
my great-uncle,
and grandfather-in-law were all on the founding board.
And I was born at Rose Hospital.
The hospital not only employed Jewish doctors, but also Dr. Edmund Knoll, the first Black doctor to have hospital privileges in Denver. Rose served people regardless of their background, their religion, or their race. Our origin story is incredibly important to us and has influenced all of the work we've done over the past 30 years.
And then when the Rose Community Foundation was formed,
it was the result of the sale of Rose Hospital. The money that raised from that went into a community foundation that takes care of everybody.
It was an organization that was thought of as the Jewish Foundation, but served lots of other people.
Because it's a true community foundation.
We like to think we punch above our weight, and that requires using every tool in our toolbox. One of those tools is grant making.
Rose Community Foundation recognizes the nuances of community and the importance of creating a blueprint for success.
I have seen the benefit of the great work that Rose has done from both sides. After I ended my time at Rose and went to the Anti-Defamation League, and we became a grantee, and as a grantor, to see nonprofits be able to use those dollars to help ensure things like
our students paired up with college-educated mentors for 3 years to get them into four-year colleges and universities with scholarships to help pay for it.
The 2020 census was imminent, and it was the first time it was online. Rose gave us that cushion so that we didn't have to fully stand up an organization, but just get right to work.
Free IT education, credentialing, certifications, and employment placement.
We fight for protections for LGBTQIA+ Coloradans and their families.
We've received grants that were awarded for capacity building, for IT security, and building our client database. And even we're funded for the purchase of a refrigerated truck for our Weinberg food pantry. They understand that we couldn't do what we do without having the funds for operation.
100% of the students who have gone through our program have gotten into four-year colleges and universities with scholarships.
After graduation, our learners are earning over $75,000, and that is a huge jump from $21,000.
Rose isn't just a traditional grant-making organization. We're really looking at ways that we can impact philanthropy beyond that.
Another one of our superpowers is working to expand charitable resources through our philanthropic services work.
Rose was one of the first to allow small donors to be part of the process.
We can help you with your philanthropic dollars, whatever amount it is. We are there to help you give in the best, smartest, most thoughtful way possible.
Donor-advised funds were new and it was innovative.
Instead of the stress and strain of trying to do the homework of where the various opportunities are, I can simply say, help me figure out the best places to make impact.
When I started understanding how to use a donor-advised fund and did my analysis of where I'd spent my money over the past 30 years, it was just a very easy approach to something I'd already been doing. And I can let somebody else manage it. How can I say no to that?
I had been thinking long-term around our investment into the organization and thinking about the ways that we can become more sustainable.
We are helping other nonprofits to grow their own endowments and have greater impact themselves.
It was the perfect timing for us, the long-term investment.
We are now in a place that we are going to take our first disbursement of that endowment this year, which is a huge milestone for us because that's the goal, is to be able to have a sustainable source of revenue. That was the donor's intent, that's the point of an endowment, and that was Rose's effort to get us there.
Our investments not only generate the resources that enable our work to support our region, but how and where we invest is another lever of our impact.
We have been exploring ways to align the investment assets with the foundation's core values, and we weren't interested in changes that made no real impact. And at the same time, we weren't willing to sacrifice any of our investment returns.
Everybody that has put money here has confidence that this foundation will do the right thing as far as earning money on their investment.
When people give their money to Rose Community Foundation, they know they're making a difference.
Rose Community Foundation is nonpartisan and not political, but when it comes to issues impacting our region and their intersection with our values, we are not neutral. Leveraging our voice and our thought leadership are critical to our impact.
Even though we serve everyone, our Jewish values apply to all the work we do, and Rose Community Foundation is a phenomenal partner in sharing those values. Inclusivity.
Rose Community Foundation has stood strong in their understanding that diversity, equity, inclusion, justice is important.
And those are catch terms now, but behind it, it just means that I realize I'm not the only one.
In fact, I respect the fact that they use the words and not just the acronym.
Welcoming the stranger.
The Newcomers Fund was to help us welcome the most vulnerable populations to Denver and to really understand how we could intercede in a system that was so complicated.
We've wanted to make sure that those people who needed the safety and the opportunity of this country could get it.
Advancing tzedakah, advancing justice.
Rose Community Foundation understands that we are a state that loves freedom of choice, freedom of expression, and it creates a space and opportunity for that to happen.
We're one of 2 states that has a Latino Community Foundation, California and Colorado, and I don't think it would have happened as soon as it did without Rose's support.
The Jewish Community Center was in dire straits, and the foundation stepped up, as did several individuals.
They were in part motivated by the fact that Rose was willing to say, this is important that this institution survives. We're going to help do that, and they did.
I don't think they would be here if it weren't for the Rose Foundation.
And Tikkun Olam, repairing the world.
We are now working in the policy and advocacy space, so we're looking to impact the areas that we're already funding, really to make systemic change.
When we first started to talk about the removal of this Amendment 43, there weren't a lot of folks who supported us. They thought that in a state like Colorado that we were safe, and the Rose Community Foundation did not do that. They understood why this was important, why we needed to remove the ban on same-sex marriage.
All of these different issues and the challenges that they've faced, Rose Community Foundation has made sure that it was part of the conversation.
Always with the thought in mind, how are we best going to do what we're doing today to serve our community tomorrow?
Rose Community Foundation is deeply rooted in its history, origin story, and legacy, but we also know we will be more defined by the future. Looking ahead and in partnership with community, we are committed to growing, evolving, and continuing to meet the moment.
We're really at an inflection point right now.
So many of us think about what's going on and say, well, really, what can I do about that? I can't really have an impact. I can vote, but what else can I do?
We're not gonna get mired in the negative. We're gonna move forward.
Between the Jewish culture and the African American culture, there's so much in the world that tries to tell us what we can't do, what we're not worth. But we also realize we can do what we can if we stay together as a community.
When you look at a community, they're all connected.
Our community is not a monolith. We're literally representative of every community out there.
We're staying true to our values.
You have the Jewish values, you have African American values, and you have strategic philanthropy, and what's in that mix right there.
It's about matching my values, my desires, and my ability.
If you spend the time and you pay attention, you can have an impact. And Rose really led me to believe that was possible.
Rose Community Foundation is preparing a community for the needs of the future.
They know the history of the decisions that they've made. They know how to change things, and it has helped them become the best of the best.
As I look back over these 30 years, I think about all that has been accomplished. And it has been one step after the other in a positive, more significant way from the very beginning to now. And I see that same pattern going on into the future.